As long as they don't throw things, I'm okay, Joe. Charles and I were at the National Prayer Breakfast last week. We went out to the airport to catch our flight, and it was delayed by about 50 minutes, so Robin and Linda and Charles and I went over and sat down, and we were visiting because we saw that on the little marquee there, our flight was going to now leave at 11:42. So we talked, and of course we heard the noise up there, you know, them making announcements and so forth, but we were talking and visiting. And at about 11:28, I said, you know, we better go over to our gate. Well, we went over to our gate, but there was no one there except the woman who was behind the desk. And I said to her, we're supposed to be on that plane. She looked at us and said, I have made announcements. I did the last call. I said, well, yeah, but we're supposed to be on that plane. She said, I have shut the door. When the door is shut, the door cannot be reopened. And I said, but the plane is out there on the tarmac. And by the way, the plane was out there for 15 minutes while we talked to this precious lady. And so we started, and we're saying, look, we're on the way to Washington. We have an appointment with Senator Graham. We're supposed to go see him. She said, once the door is shut, it cannot be reopened. We pled with her. We had a little prayer. I saw in my wife's eyes and in Robin's eyes, there was a little tear beginning to form. We did everything we knew to do. And she would say, once the door is shut, it cannot be reopened. Finally, revelation came to me. I said, Charles, I'm going to play the race card. I mean, there's no reason to have it if you can't play it, right? I said, I'm going to play the race card. He said, you can't. I said, why not? He said, she's white. This boy's sharp. He's a thinker. I stood there for a little bit, and then another idea came to me. I said, Charles, you play the race card. He said, I can't. I said, why not? He said, because I'm with you, and you're white. Well, we will learn how this works, won't we? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We will get hold of this thing.
Before long, Wendell is going to be pushing for affirmative action for white people.
Did you make the plane?
The 12:45 p.m. plane after having to sit in the airport for another 60 minutes. All right, let me tell you about something about that which was difficult for me. I grew up thinking that if you were a Republican, you were a redneck. And if you were a redneck, you were a Republican. And therefore, Republican plus redneck equaled racist. Wendell once facetiously told me that he was a redneck. That was confusing because our friendship was growing at that particular time. However, he told me that a redneck was one who worked hard, loved God, loved his family, and loved his country. I hope he's right about that. As you can see, we came to know that our background and experiences caused us to see things through different lenses. We were concerned about our presentation this morning, exactly how you would perceive and receive what we are saying. We weren't too sure how you would see it. There are some things that are acceptable among whites that are not acceptable among blacks, and likewise in reverse. I remember when I preached at the First Baptist Church for Wendell. Wendell showed appreciation and respect for my sermon and our friendship by lightly tapping me on the face. Now, because I know Wendell, I saw absolutely nothing wrong with what he had done. However, my members did not appreciate it at all. One of them wrote him a strong letter of reprimand indicating that he had shown disrespect to her pastor with his condescending suggestion of white superiority. a group of them felt that he owed their pastor an apology. Different lenses. Let me share with you something about this friendship and how it all began. The respective brotherhood ministries of our churches, who were colleagues and co-workers, began fellowshipping with one another during their brotherhood meetings and programs. After several joint monthly breakfast meetings, they wanted their pastors to meet. So we agreed to join them one morning for breakfast and we exchanged the usual cordial greetings we all do. But upon meeting Wendell, I was appreciative of his kind spirit and engaging sense of humor. He may have missed his calling, Brother Joe. He possibly could have been a comedian and may have been a better comedian than preacher. I appreciated his sense of humor. And as I scoped him over, as we sometimes say in the black community, I thought to myself, he seems like a real good guy. But I felt that our differences would probably be a barrier to us forming any kind of friendship apart from the ceremonial gatherings occasionally between our churches. So Wendell and I did not consciously make a decision to spend time together. It just seemed to have been a natural consequence of our having what we perceived to have been kindred spirits. We had common interests. Those common interests continued to draw us closer to one another. We love the Lord Jesus Christ with all our hearts. We're passionate about winning souls to Christ. Family is held in high esteem. Marriage is an ordained institution of God. Children are gifts from God to us as parents and are to be cherished and supported and given guidance. Life is a part of God's creative genius and is sacred. Education is one of the keys to a successful and prosperous life, etc., and so on. We both have a son and a daughter. Our sons are both preachers. Wendell's son, Eric, has been pastoring the village church in Blythewood for 5 years. And my son, Charles Jr., who could not be with us today because he's at the Morehouse Founders Day celebration in Atlanta, Georgia, has been pastoring the New Lauder Street Baptist Church here in Columbia for 5 years. Our grandchildren hold special places in our hearts, and though we love them dearly, we love them best when they're with their parents. We are blessed with 2 wonderfully supportive wives. Now, we truly believe that the providence of God brought us into our friendship. We're not so sure why, but the strength and sincerity of it points to a supreme and higher being at work in our lives. And I'm sure that his will for our lives will unfold in the years to come. Right now, we are enjoying the time we spend together. Some of the things that we've done and shared together which have nurtured our relationship of friendship are, and you would want to know the kind of time we spend together. Our workout together on Mondays. We look forward to working out with each other together on Mondays. This is a weekly ritual we try to honor. Of course, our schedules prohibit us from being as consistent as we would like. He says it's my fault.
It is.
And he calls me his phantom friend, claiming that I'm always out of town, preaching revivals, attending conventions and conferences. And you who are members of the Casey West Columbia Rotary may feel as he does. But our workout and time together has been good for us. We've also had dinner together several times with our wives, and I'm happy that my wife, Robin, has arrived. Stand up rather quickly, Robin, so they can see you. Now, for us, getting together has not been easy at all because in addition to our schedules, Robin and Linda's schedules come into play. Now, biggie for us is our annual visit to the state fair in October with our grandsons. Watching our grandsons enjoying one another on the rides and playing games at the fair bring us delight. We played golf together. We've gone to the movie occasionally, even as recent as 2 weeks ago with our daughters. We have attended a number of community events together. We've exchanged pulpit preaching. As he mentioned earlier, we've attended the President's National Prayer Breakfast on several occasions. And this is huge for us. Every Saturday night, we call each other's names in prayer to God as we prepare for Sunday morning worship services. All of these experiences